So in this video, we're going to talk about how you can get organized with the Hornbostel Sachs hierarchy or the Hornbostel Sachs system. Now, first of all, what is the Hornbostel Sachs system? Hornbostel Sachs system was created by Erich Mortiz von Hornbostel and Kurt Sachs in 1914. So it's a very old way of categorizing or organizing musical instruments. So the question is, why would you want to use this to organize your samples or your VST patches? Well, one advantage would be if you have 100 or thousands of different instruments and samples, then you need an intuitive way of categorizing them and organizing them, or else you will have you will spend quite a lot of time trying to find the right instruments when you're composing. So the Hornbostel Sachs system is a very intuitive way of organizing your samples and instruments. If you go on my webpage and we expand the list of the Hornbostel Sachs categories, you can see quite a lot of categories. So the idea is, if you download the file, you will have the same hierarchy in folders. So what we're going to do is to download the folder from the web page and open it and extract it. And now you can see that we have 4 main categories, and it's probably good to understand what they mean first. You can see that we have different categories with different names that you might have heard of or never heard of. We can do an example. A idiophone, for example, is a instrument that is directly where the body itself is resonating. So, for example, if you have a cymbal, we can use that as an example. If you have a cymbal, you want to place it inside the idiophones category, because when you strike a cymbal, the whole cymbal starts to resonate and produce sounds. So all those kinds of instruments go in this folder. Inside of this folder, again, you have subdirectories. You can have blown, friction, plucked, and struck idiophones. So if you just have a normal cymbal, then you would probably place it inside the struck idiophones. And then you can choose to go on with the subcategories. I have created them for you. If you don't need them, you can just delete them and create your own folders if you want to. So that is the basic idea of how the Hornbostel Sachs hierarchy works. If you have chordophones, that is instruments that can produce chords. Chords are 3 notes or more combined together. If you have membranophones, a membranophone can be, for example, a kick drum is a good example of a membranophone. Basically, it's self-explanatory. The instrument has a membrane which vibrates or produces sounds. Aerophones is all the instruments that are producing sounds by using air. And so it is a very intuitive way of organizing the different instruments. Now, what are the advantages or disadvantages of using the Hornbostel Sachs system? The advantage is, of course, if you have a very big library of thousands, if not tens of thousands of instruments, then this is probably the only way you want to go. If you're an average user, you're probably not going to need this system. If you have less than 100 or less than 50 different instruments, then you're probably going to have more folders than actual instruments if you use this system. What are the disadvantages of this system? Well, as I mentioned, the main disadvantage is if you're an average user, you're probably not going to need it. The other disadvantage is, since this system was created in 1914 and is a very old system, it does not account for modern instruments like electronic instruments. So, for example, if you're basically making electronic music and you have shitloads of synths, you would probably one way to do it would be to just try to place it inside the categories in the Hornbostel Sachs system. So for example, if you have a synth and a string synth, you can place it inside the chordophones category. But the other way to do it would probably just to go here and make a new folder and call it synths, and then make subcategories inside of here. So the disadvantage of using the Hornbostel Sachs system is that if you're using mainly electronic music, it can be sort of hard to find out where you should place them inside of these folders. But at least this might give you some ideas on how you can categorize your musical instruments, but you sort of have to think for your own, decide what's best for yourself. If you have a lot of instruments, then I would recommend this way of organizing. If you just have a few, then it doesn't matter too much.